Yo, what's going on, fellas? It's your main man, Six Paths Duga, back again with another reaction video. So a few of my subs actually requested that I react to this video. They wanted to see my reaction, and me clicking this video, it looks like this is a banger by KIDOMAKI, not gonna lie. Now, if everything goes as scheduled, this video should drop right after the Himawari video I'm about to drop. I got a custom thumbnail made for that one, so I'm pretty excited to release that. I'm not gonna lie. That one should drop tomorrow. Today's the 28th, but it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm gonna drop that later on today, and then this video should drop around the 30th or so. So what we got here, Shibai is future Boruto ending leak. That's all you need. That simple title racked up 40k views. Is that the wave now? Just the short titles? I could get down with that. Now, I've seen a lot of Boruto ending videos. This will not be the first one. This will not be the last one. But judging from the response of this video, apparently he's spitting. So, you know what? Let's hear what he got to say. Before we get into the video, KIDOMAKI, one of the best Boruto creators out right now, no lie. I'm gonna leave the link to his video down below in the description, as well as his channel. So before you even continue this video, go on his channel, leave a like on this video. Also subscribe to him if you haven't already. He's giving me a shout out on occasion, you know. He knows who we are and he rocks with us, so we rock with him. You know, it's as simple as that. You show love, I show love back. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into it.
The age of shinobi is over, and I'll send you where I sent the seventh. These two lines have spawned so many theories about Boruto's true ending, and for good reason. Why does Kawaki want to end the age of shinobi?
You know what? And I'm sorry I paused it so early, but we gotta talk about it already. I've been thinking about why Kawaki wants to end the era of shinobi. Now, it would be absolutely crazy if what I'm about to say is something he mentions in this video, but I'm going to talk about a specific cycle that I noticed. You see, the main goal of Kawaki is just to protect Naruto from pretty much all the foes that pops up in the Boruto series. At first, it was just to protect them against the Otsutsuki, you know, Jigen, Ishiki, and then it got into Code, but now it's the Shinju, right? Now, I may be reaching here, and let me know if I'm reaching. I don't think it's crazy to say that all this happened because of shinobi. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawaki came to the conclusion that the Otsutsuki were not going to stop invading Earth because, you know, it's a whole clan. There is an unidentified amount of Otsutsuki out there, right? And they can all be after the same thing, power. Power in the form of dang near anything, I might add. But as it pertains to this situation, most of the Otsutsuki just want the chakra fruit. And the chakra fruit of Earth offers the most power to anybody who consumes it. You see, that's the main reason Earth will always be a target. Not only shinobi, but the Earth itself offers the Shinju something of value as well. Information. Okay, you have the Shinju thing, that's fine. But thinking about it like this, right? Let's go back to the Otsutsuki. The whole Kaguya thing started was because she was the proclaimed mother of all chakra. She wanted to reclaim what was rightfully hers, and therefore that created conflict. You see, where I'm getting at here is basically no matter what happens, there's always going to be trouble on Earth because of shinobi. Everybody's gonna have different views and outlooks on everything. You look at different villains throughout the series like Pain, Orochimaru, Madara, Obito. They was all products of the shinobi system. And I'm not diminishing what Naruto did. Of course, there's always going to be a sense of peace within the 5 great nations. But you cannot deny there's always going to be that certain person or that certain group of people that oppose the current system. Therefore, if the era of shinobi continues, then there's always going to be some type of conflict, even if it's Otsutsuki related or them just coming to Earth to try and steal the chakra fruit. It's always going to be some type of conflict. That's part of why you don't see a video on it yet, because I'm still cooking up the theory myself. I'm still thinking about it. But if KIDOMAKI brings up something about conflict and how the shinobi system gives a rise to certain villains, then we might be on the same track. But yeah.
You see, there have been so many videos about Shibai's true identity. Some believe that he's Momoshiki in disguise, some believe that he's a model, some even believe that he's just a random background character influencing the events of Boruto's timeline. All of these theories are indeed plausible, but there's one that stands out. In fact, I've made videos in the past about this very thing, which is Boruto himself being Shibai. Now you guys might be saying, if I've made videos on this already, what's the purpose of this one? Well, the answer to that question is that I've made a new discovery. You see, the difference between that theory and this one is the
So
very
many Shibai
foundation it was
videos,
built
man.
on,
I
which is
watched
that
so
Boruto
many.
is Shibai's reincarnate. So in a sense, he's the continuation of someone that existed in the past, his next life per se. While this new theory takes on a different approach in that Boruto isn't Shibai's reincarnate. He is and always was Shibai himself. Now, this might seem a bit confusing, but let me explain. You see, there's this concept in time travel known as a causal loop or the bootstrap paradox. This is, in essence, a situation in which an object or piece of information is sent back in time and becomes the cause of its own existence, creating a closed loop. Essentially, there's no clear origin for the item itself. It appears to have always existed because it is a part of a self-perpetuating cycle. In fact, something similar to this has happened in the Boruto universe, which I've mentioned before in prior videos. This took place when Boruto and Sasuke traveled back in time. The younger version of Denki's father, the creator of the train.
I seen this. I seen this and I thought it was funny. But I always had an old theory, right? Of when it came to like anime canon and stuff like that. I always said that anime will tell you what's to come in the manga. It's always told you. Boruto developing a new Rasengan. In the anime only, I think it was the high compression Rasengan. And then in Tuba Vortex, he develops the Uzuhigo. The new Rasengan that he used to defeat Code. And it's pretty much like many more with Himawari and stuff like that, with things I cannot remember right now. But I've been saying for a while that the anime gives us information on what might come in the future of the manga. This is another case of that. So if you guys didn't watch this because it is filler, I guess, or anime canon, it doesn't matter. But basically Boruto and Sasuke went back in time and Boruto confronted Denki's father and told him about trains. Therefore, in the future, Denki's father was like, yeah, I got this crazy idea about trains from this person long ago or something like that. And then therefore, that is how trains came to be. It is a crazy concept if you think about it, but I want to see how he relates it to like how Boruto with Shibai or whatever he's saying. So let's just keep going.
Since if Boruto learned about it because Denki's father created it, and Denki's father created it because he overheard Boruto talking about it, there's no clear origin to the train system. It's a closed causal loop. It's a paradox. Now this gets even crazier when you apply it to Shibai. And it all goes back to a constant theme in the Boruto anime, which is that it tends to foreshadow later events of the manga. Whether it's Kagemasa's evil eye, a clear reference to Boruto's Jogan, Harami's introduction, which had him encased in a Jogan-shaped container with a scar above his right eye, which of course foreshadows the scar Boruto later receives in the manga, and even the clones Shin created that he viewed as tools, but in the end turned against him, similar to Code's situation with the clog rhymes and the Shinju. There are many such cases where the anime hints towards later plotlines, and this bootstrap paradox is no different. But precisely how does it apply to Boruto and Shibai?
I told you.
Well, I believe that Boruto will eventually become Shibai after evolving into his new Otsutsuki form. He will then travel to the past and become the Shibai known throughout history, thus ensuring the continued existence of the timeline. Now you guys might be saying this doesn't make sense because why would Boruto need to become the Shibai of the past when Shibai existed long before Boruto was born? And you guys would be 100% correct in saying that. But that's why it's a paradox. Boruto was always destined to become Shibai and travel to the past to ensure his future. He is the catalyst that spawned the events which led to the present, and without him the timeline would cease to exist. So he must
that would be crazy
and complete the
that
loop.
would be insane.
This is of course the ultimate enemy Boruto faces as decreed by Toneri in the anime, Destiny. Destiny was always his true opponent, something he can't overcome with brute force and must shoulder by himself. Now how does this tie into Kawaki? I did say this explains the Age of Shinobi is overlined in chapter 1, but how? Well, it all goes back to what happens to a timeline if a closed loop is broken. In this case, it could either result in a new timeline where things are different, or it could result in the timeline's total destruction. Now to understand the full weight behind Boruto's decision, I want to explain in detail what I believe will happen. So sometime in the future, everyone comes to learn of this decision Boruto must make. Either continue on the path to evolution or destroy the loop. If Boruto chooses to evolve, he must travel to the past to ensure the loop cycle continues. He does this by taking the name Shibai, which by the way means playing a role. So Boruto plays the role of Shibai by first infiltrating the home of the Otsutsuki, and after building rank among them, he later directs them to Earth's sector, which is what led to Kaguya and Ishiki's arrival in the first place.
Okay.
This ensures that the timeline which created the shinobi system is born, which also ensures Boruto's birth. The sad part is that he's still Boruto, but he can't live a normal life. He can only watch from afar as to not tamper with the timeline. So he becomes sad and lonely, which is why he discards his body and ascends to a higher plane of existence. The crazy part about this is that he did this under the guise of ascending to godhood through the consumption of chakra fruits, and left instructions to the Otsutsuki for them to do the same thing. So the reason why the Otsutsuki consume planets to gather chakra fruits is because Boruto, who's now Shibai, told them how to do it. He didn't just tell them the location of the planet, he gave them a reason to go there. That's because for the events of Boruto to happen,
This reminds me of the Black Zetsu situation. A whole nother Black Zetsu situation. And you know how sometimes stories kind of rewrite themselves in a way? Well, not rewrite itself, but adds more lore to it. So if we say like Black Zetsu was the one who planned Kaguya's revival, but then Boruto was the one who planned that, or, you know, went back in time to make sure that specific event happened, then you could say Black Zetsu was kind of like a puppet or the catalyst to start up the events that were supposed to play out. So originally, the narrative was like Black Zetsu played out with everything. He was the one that forged shinobi history, so forth and so on. But we didn't learn until Boruto came out that there is a higher level of power out there somewhere. A power that is capable of even manipulating Black Zetsu. And it came in the form of Shibai. Also his power of omnipotence, which basically rewrites reality on whatever he wishes. And Momoshiki said around like chapter 79, he was like, this is probably not the first time that omnipotence was casted upon the world. Well, we don't know how many times exactly it might have been casted, but confirmed there's a higher power out there that is making reality what it is because of a Shinjutsu or a greater divine power that we just don't know about. So yeah, basically he's saying Boruto could have just ascended to that point or kept evolving into that point where he was able to do that. And by the looks of it, he did it through this paradox. But yeah, I mean, this is a very confusing topic. I mean, time in general is just confusing. When you get into like the paradoxes, time travel, time loops, it's just so confusing because time is a very hard concept to grasp. It's like you can have something very minute throw off the whole timeline, and something that happened because of that can create a fork in the timeline, creating like 2 to like hundreds of thousands of different possibilities.
so those chain of events only occur if Boruto travels back in time to be the catalyst, thus ensuring the never-ending cycle. So Boruto has a very big decision to make, ensuring the timeline plays out as it always has, despite knowing that he'll be damned to a miserable life, or break the loop and risk erasing all his loved ones from existence. Very tough. Now, where Kawaki comes in is actually very simple. You see, we know Kawaki hates the shinobi system. He thinks they're a weak father that simply die on the front lines. He suffered in poverty because of that very system as well, which makes this
It's
very
true,
personal.
yeah.
He also despises the Otsutsuki because all they've ever brought is destruction and suffering. Whether it's for him or the people he cares about, it's all the same. What this means is that it's in Kawaki's best interest to stop Boruto from fulfilling his destiny. If he succeeds, the Otsutsuki as we know it would cease to exist, since Boruto never went back in time to give them their mission of collecting fruits. The shinobi system also wouldn't exist since it was spawned from Kaguya's arrival and Hagoromo giving chakra to humans. So stopping Boruto fulfills Kawaki's goals that were established in part 1, ending the age of shinobi and ending the reign of the Otsutsuki, at least as we know it.
That is a good theory right there. Kawaki just being the one born to stop him. So at that point, who is the right one? Who is in the right here? Kawaki or Boruto? I mean, it depends on how you look at it too. I'm pretty sure a lot of people hearing this, they might be like, you know what? Kawaki has a point. But then there's some people that be like, you know what? Hey, Boruto, he's sticking to his guts. He's doing what's right. That's his destiny. what right does Kawaki have in trying to get in the middle of that? Because both sides don't sound wrong. You know, in the comment section right now, let me know who you think is in the right. Based on what he just said, if Boruto was designed to keep the timeline going how it's supposed to, you know, bringing Kaguya to Earth, her giving birth to Hagoromo and Hamura, them creating Ninshu, which then branched off and turned into Shinobi and Ninjutsu and all that, it was all designed and planned out by Boruto. Kawaki is there to stop it, stop the time loop, eliminate the Otsutsuki, and end the age of Shinobi. I mean, just looking at it like that, it sounds like Kawaki's in the right. It does sound like he could have a point here, but let's not speak too soon. Now, you know, I gotta hear out his whole theory.
And he does this by sending Boruto where he sent the 7th, which of course is a dimension where time doesn't flow. So since Boruto is in a dimension where time doesn't flow, he can't influence time, nor will he ever evolve to the point where he could. Now one could say, why doesn't Kawaki just kill Boruto to ensure that this never happens? Well, that could be because he simply grows to care about him and would rather seal him away. Or it could also be the case that he can't be killed. You see, if Boruto is truly essential to completing the loop, meaning the entire timeline depends on him becoming Shibai and going back in time, then yes, the timeline would certainly protect him to preserve itself. This could manifest in attacks on Boruto always being interrupted by someone or something, an ally arriving just in time as seen with Kawaki, or an enemy being distracted by another conveniently pressing matter, as seen when JURA left to go revive Hidari, which he himself attributed to Boruto being protected by divine intervention. Some believe that this is Shibai now actively influencing these events from a higher plane of existence, but that isn't the case. The truth is that the timeline itself is protecting Boruto because without him, it would cease to exist. So Kawaki must find a loophole around killing Boruto because that action itself is blocked by fate, which of course leaves us with Daikokuten, a dimension where time doesn't flow. So in essence, if Boruto is removed from time itself, it can no longer protect him, which means he could end Boruto in that time space. This ensures that all the things that Kawaki hates about this world never occurs, and he's willing to end everything if there's even a small chance that Naruto might get to live in a world absent of these threats. The problem, of course, is that the chance is very small. Yes, breaking a causal loop could result in the history being rewritten to where the events caused by that loop didn't occur.
And anything can happen. Anything can happen from just breaking something in the timeline. If Boruto doesn't become Shibai, then the future changes automatically. Now, if Boruto doesn't become Shibai, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Kaguya and Ishiki don't go to Earth because they're not being manipulated. Chakra never gets introduced, therefore Shinobi never become a thing, and the Otsutsuki are not drawn to Earth because of the chakra fruit. That's how I see it. Kaguya and Ishiki were sent to Earth somehow, and them being sent to Earth created a timeline where Momoshiki and Kinshiki ended up going to Earth. And obviously there's a reason why Boruto is doing it, and it might be revealed that Kawaki is just trying to break that cycle for his own selfish reasons, you know, just to protect Boruto. So that's why he said the age of Shinobi ends now, or I'm going to end the age of Shinobi. This is where it ends. I can't say that I'm too excited about the whole story of Boruto just being a time loop or an everlasting time loop.
The flip side of this is the total destruction of the timeline itself, and everyone simply ceases to exist because it becomes too unstable, which actually is more likely.
Okay.
Boruto doesn't want to take that risk.
That's why he's fighting for the time loop. You see, I just said there's a reason why Boruto's doing it, and that's the reason. That's the reason, because if the time loop didn't continue, then that's it. Everything just ceases to exist. I mean, I would ask why Kawaki is pushing for that if his whole thing is just like protecting Naruto in a sense. I mean, Kawaki is pretty like suicidal, so it's like, he doesn't care about what happens to him as long as his precious Lord 7 stays alive. Could it be like a mindset change or something, or I don't know. But there it is. That's the main conflict between these two characters. Boruto's trying to keep the Earth intact and the timeline intact. Kawaki's trying to destroy it, which is why they call him the Apostle of Destruction. Now, that's a cool nickname, I ain't gonna lie. The Apostle of Destruction. That is dope.
Now, given what I said before, it all makes sense why Boruto's horn looks like Shibai despite receiving his karma from Momoshiki. It isn't because he's a descendant of Shibai or because he received Shibai's cells. No, it's because Boruto had Otsutsuki DNA prior to receiving Momoshiki's karma, since he's a descendant of Kaguya. So that data mixed with Momoshiki's and Kinshiki's.
So where does Momoshiki come into this? Is he just like a pawn? Because he did say that Boruto had close connections to the Otsutsuki even before he bestowed him a karma. Like, how does Momoshiki play a part into this whole thing? Or what role does he have in the whole timeline loop? We already know Kawaki's role, Kashin Koji's role. I'm interested in knowing what Momoshiki is, because obviously he has a really significant role in this whole thing.
So Boruto doesn't have that horn because of Shibai. Shibai has that horn because of Boruto, because Boruto becomes Shibai. At this point in time, his evolution into Shibai has already begun.
I can see what Momoshiki's role is. I think Momoshiki's role is basically just playing as the foundation of Boruto's Otsutsuki power. He's the reason why Boruto was able to ascend and become Shibai. He needed a way to become an Otsutsuki, and Momoshiki gave him that option. So Momoshiki is actually the most important person in this time loop. He's the one who made evolution possible for Boruto. He's the reason why Boruto was able to ascend to a fourth dimensional plane. The base of that is just Momoshiki. Ever since then, he just continued to grow.
They're slowly merging into one entity, which began with their brainwaves crossing over. Once this process is complete, a new evolution will occur, thus the birth of Shibai. Now, you might be wondering why this happens. Why will Momoshiki merge with Boruto and create this new form? Well, that part is actually quite simple. It all goes back to Boruto himself being part Otsutsuki and strongly inheriting their power. You have to remember that Momoshiki evolved to this state after consuming Kinshiki and merging his essence with it. The similar process is taking place with Momoshiki and Boruto, because you have Boruto's innate Otsutsuki essence merging with Momoshiki's, which will in the end result in the creation of a new form. This form might be controlled by Boruto's consciousness, or might be a completely different person, who is the result of both personalities of Momoshiki and Boruto merging into one. With that said, this also explains some other similarities as well. Some have pointed out that the ability Shibai uses in this panel looks similar to
Uzuhiko. Yeah.
Well, that's because
I see it.
It is Rasengan Uzuhiko, since Boruto is Shibai. Some have pointed out that the damage to Shibai's clothing on his right hand looks very similar to the damage to Boruto's clothing in the flash forward scene. And that, I believe, is because it is after this fight that Boruto evolves into this new form. It would also rip apart his pants, which explains the tattered look from the back, but of course I could be reaching there and it's not really that relevant to the overall theory. By the way, I also noticed that this garment is somewhat different from this one in this panel, because this one is ripped apart and this one isn't.
There is some similarities, I can't even lie on that. And you know what, guys? You know what, fellas? With that being said, I hope Boruto is not Shibai. I don't think I want Boruto to be the one, or turns out to be this god that is influencing the timeline or looping around the timeline to make everything go exactly how it is. I want Boruto just to be an anomaly. I want Boruto to be just what he is, Boruto. I just want him to be a kid that's trying to save the planet and get his family back, you know? And obviously that's the narrative right now, but the plot can grow from this, you know? If they introduce new Otsutsuki or more lore behind the Otsutsuki, and of course more lore behind Boruto's past, then we can actually escalate the narrative to this level. All I'm saying is, I don't care for it. I don't care for it. Just speaking as a fan right now, I can live without this. And I think a lot of you might agree with me. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I really like that video by KIDOMAKI. I'm just gonna say it right now. I could get down with all the divine talks and the gods of the Boruto verse, but if this was to happen, you would hear it from me. I would say, yeah, that's too much. That's just too much. It's cool and everything, but the reason why I like Boruto so much right now is just because he's a kid just trying to fix everything. He's not this all-knowing god. He's just a kid that ran into a messed up situation. The theory makes sense, but does it take away the essence of what Boruto truly is? I might have to agree on that. Now, I could be wrong. A lot of people could just think differently. I just don't want the story to lose its plot. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm ready for a lot of different opinions down below in the comment section. So come on, let's get it going. But anyway, before I end this video, let me know what you guys thought about this theory down below in the comment section. Does it have any merit to it? Do you guys agree? Do you guys not agree? Let me know, man. Let me know. But anyway, like I said, KIDOMAKI, I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description to his channel. So go check him out. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave that like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you can notify whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'm gonna see you boys and girls later. I'm out. Peace.